place shifted from Prudential Center to Madison Square Garden. The final score the same. The Devils win their second of 3 played against the Rangers this season, and I'm sure the captain is just as happy as he was then.
Definitely, yes.
So the Devils with the 6-3 victory tonight, a game they had to kind of fight hard for.
They did, Matty. It wasn't going to come easy, and when you win, it's good that it wasn't easy. Maybe it could have made it a little easier, but they couldn't finish some of their chances. But in the end, they knew they were in control. They were the better team, and that's the way the game ended.
We're waiting to hear from Jacob Markstrom, who picked up the win tonight, his 21st of the season, and improved his lifetime record. We talk about Jack Hughes' numbers. Markey, 14-4-3 lifetime against the Rangers.
Nice.
So we'll hear from him in just a moment. But first, let's check out some highlights as these two teams meet for the second time this season. Devils starting a 5-game road trip, and they completely dominated the first period, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Maybe not on the scoreboard, but in every other way.
Absolutely. The Devils outshot the Rangers 17-2, and they had an opportunity like this, but couldn't score.
Oh.
Schneider from the blue line between the circles, redirected wide. That was Zibanejad with the chance. Now Zibanejad has the puck. He's out high. Slides it to the near wall. Gets it back, but no, went through him. Past him, and now it's pumped ahead. Another 2-on-1. Jack and Bratt. Jack in with a shot. Save the rebound to Bratt. And his pass is blocked away. He tried to come back to Jack, did Jesper Bratt, but the Devils not able to connect on that one. They had a 2-on-1 earlier, and Jack's pass was blocked by Matthew Robertson. And so, yeah, they outshot them 17-2, but those don't count as shots on goal. And, you know, you think, well, it's going to happen for us tonight, but it took a while before it did. However, it took this goal to give the Rangers some excitement in the first. Now here's Lafreniere with some room. Shot goes wide. Gavrikov with the shot. He scores. How about that? They don't shoot much. They don't get plenty on net, but there they score on the third shot of the period, third of the game, and Gavrikov gives them a 1-0 lead. It was, according to the scoreboard, the third shot. Then they took one off, as so often happens in the NHL. They continue to review shots on goal. It doesn't matter. Just 2 official shots. Gavrikov, 1 of 2. And the Rangers had a 1-0 lead at 15:20.
Well, screenshots are a beautiful thing for the team that's shooting them. And somebody cut right in front of Markey just before that puck went by him and into the net. So it was kind of a surprise, but it added some drama, at least.
Yeah, 35 seconds later, though, Gabe Perreault was called for holding. Devils go on the power play. It was so effective against New York in the early meeting this month at Prudential Center. It continued to pay a dividend tonight. Dougie Hamilton with the puck out high. Gabe Perreault off for the hold. Here's Jesper Bratt. Backhands to Hamilton. Comes cross ice to Jack, who skates out toward the blue line. Knifes one pass to Bratt, gets it in front, and they score! Did Hischier bat it out of the air? Hischier leading the fist bump parade, and so if that's the case, it's Hischier's 24th of the season. Devils tie it up at 16-14, just 19 seconds into the power play.
And you know, Hischier would like to get to 30. And that was a good goal, and he's got a lot of games left, so maybe he will.
Connor Brown with the primary assist. We didn't think that he had tipped it. We thought it was a shot by Jesper Bratt that bounded toward Hischier, but Brown with the primary assist must have gotten a piece. But Bratt, in the process of getting the secondary assist, has 500 career points, and that's just a beautiful number.
It is for a guy that's just all hockey. He thinks the game. He works at it in practice, and it's nice that it's paying off for him when they really counts during the game.
So the Devils tie it at 1 at 16-14. Before the period was over, the Devils were able to regain the lead as Arseny Gritsuk scored his 13th of the season to make it 2-1, and the Devils took that lead with them into the second period. We're going to skip ahead to some action in the second. First off, Mika Zibanejad tied it up 19 seconds in as the Rangers came out with a very sharp first few minutes of the second. However, there was some order restored when the Devils went to the power play once again. At 11:09, Alexis Lafreniere was called for a hook. Power play goes to work. Power play scores a goal. Jack Hughes with the puck, toe drag move. In front, they score. What a play by Jack Hughes, creating some space, and Connor Brown pounds it home. So what did Jack Hughes do?
He just froze the defenders, Matty. You don't know what he's going to do, so you just kind of sat there watching. But Brownie's smart. He's moving around. He wants to get open because Jack will get him the puck if he is.
And that goal was Brown's 13th of the season, gave the Devils a 3-2 lead. We interrupt the highlights to bring in our guest outside the Devils dressing room. We welcome Jacob Markstrom to the microphone. Jacob, Matt, and Chico, thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on the win tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
It was, I would say, a slow first period. What's it like for a goalie? Now, listen, we know Gavrikov scored, but only 2 shots coming your way. Plays in the other end a lot. How do you keep your mind sharp in a situation like that?
I mean, there was a few dump-ins, and, you try to be, when the puck is in the other end or in the neutral zone, you try to have to, kind of engage your eyes and engage your mind a little bit more than, usually when... the same way you kind of do it when the puck is in your own end. So that's kind of what you have to do. And, a couple stick handle and go out, stop some pucks and make some plays and trying to just be involved.
That's a great point. People think the goalie's just down there, no shots, no pucks. He's just going brain dead. But the thing, there was an article the other day in the NHL blog about goalies playing pucks more than ever. Can you just expand on that? Why do you think that's happened?
I think I think it's an important key you can use, especially dumping pucks as the teams are being so good with the trap and all that stuff. So a lot of times is get the puck deep, and so therefore too, if you can go out and play and quick up or over and kind of break their momentum on the forecheck and also save our D from a couple of hits. It's it's a good thing.
Well, it is, and your teammates appreciate that. Save them a couple of hits, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about some players, Jack Hughes in particular, kind of using the Olympics, the success there as a springboard. And now, we know what he did, but we know what you did in the Olympics too. Now, you were playing better coming into the Olympics. You kind of had to grab that spot for Sweden. It wasn't yours to lose, so to speak. You had to grab it and hold on to it. What was your confidence? How was your confidence bolstered by the success you had playing in the Olympics?
No, it's been the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it was obviously a great experience, and those short tournaments, everything could happen, and it's a cliche, but when you get an opportunity, you kind of have to take it. That's playing in the NHL or playing in the minors or national team, and whatever you do in life, it's kind of when you get an opportunity, you have to try to make the best of it and be ready when that opportunity comes.
Yeah, and that's what you love. You've always done that. But I'm just curious. You've got a great record against the Rangers. Now, I was with the Islanders, I was with New Jersey. I mean, it was extra special to play the Rangers. But was Henrik Lundqvist the goalie when you started to play the Rangers? And why? Do you think you've been getting fired up extra even from when you first came in the league against the Rangers?
Yeah, no, obviously, he's, the best goalie, coming out of Sweden of all time for sure. And, he's up there, in best of all time overall. So, seeing him on the other side as a young Swedish goalie coming into the league, it's, definitely special. And, I have some rough games against him too, but it's definitely a little extra special feeling to, see Lundqvist over there, and then now we both last year and this year we've been playing really good, and we're putting up goals on the board, and there's 3 goals against today, but still win on the road, which is huge.
At the end of the night, they say, how did you do? And the answer is we won or we lost. That's the key. And then everything else is details. So take the 6-3 win and run with it. If I could ask one more question about not so much the Olympic experience, but every player would certainly love to play for their national team. But there seems to be something a little extra special among the Swedes to wear the 3 crowns. Can you describe what that's about?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I think Jackie's pretty proud to put on the USA
absolutely.
jersey and all that. But I feel like me, now it's a little different with social media. But my generation, it was you didn't really watch many NHL games at all. It was you watched the national team, you watched the Olympics, you watched the World Cup and the World Championship. And that's when you get to see the best players play. You didn't really. With the time difference, you didn't really watch up, and the broadcasting wasn't as you can't just open your phone and see all the highlights. It wasn't like that back, 25 years ago. So I think, the national team is, me personally, that's what you dreamt of. That was, as high as you can get.
Hey, and this is kind of funny, but listen, I saw you play. I know there's been times where you have outplayed Henrik Lundqvist, but here's what I want to know. Have you ever outdressed him? He has
No,
right?
not even close. We're not even going there. Come on, guys.
No, he's the best dressed goalie ever in the history of the national.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best dressed, player of all time. It's like, me jumping in the water trying to beat Michael Phelps. That's kind of that comparison.
Yeah. Good analogy.
I'm not a good swimmer.
Marky, thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks.
Jacob Markson with the win, the showing the personality that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And, Henrik Lundqvist is a high bar when it comes to haute couture.
And he's always done that. Of course, being in New York in a time when fashion was big, he lived up to that. But, the only thing about Henrik Lundqvist, and I like the guy and did some interviews, I wished he could have won a cup. He never did win a cup with the Rangers. And that's why when you go into Hobby's Delicatessen in Newark, there will say soups available. Henrik Lundqvist soups available. Bowls, no cups.
That's right. And what's the price?
Huh?
What's the price?
Yeah, it's higher than a cup.
$19.94.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, it's $19.94.
Oh, that's great, Matty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark and Michael, the plumbers, are smart businessmen, and they got a humorous side to them too. All right, let's go back to the highlights. We're going to hear from Connor Brown in just a moment. The Devils had taken the 3-2 lead on Connor Brown's 13th goal of the season. The Devils would take that lead with them into the third period. They would extend things when Timo Meier rattled one home. Slapping his stick on the ice, Zibanejad steps out. Here's a chance for Connor. He slides one, saved by Quick. And now they score. It's Timo Meier who grabbed the loose puck. They don't score with the man advantage, but they've taken a 4-2 lead. Devils power play scored twice tonight. Not there, but almost, just about, as Timo Meier, with the penalty expiring, scores his 19th of the season, and it was 4-2, but the Rangers, give them credit. Connor Sherry scored on a rebound to make it 4-3, but the Devils put this away with 2 late goals in period number 3. We will call this the play of the game. Brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. To use, Jack cuts to his left, between the circle of the shot off the post. Just that close. Now around it comes to use at the left point. Skates along the blue line, fights off a check. Tries to move away from Cartier and does. To Nemitz, back to Jack, slap shot, score! Jack Hughes! Oh, Chico, he held that puck out there, tried to take it from me. The Rangers couldn't. He sets it up and scores the goal. It was magic, and that was the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential.
Good call, Matty, and you heard a chuckling before the goal, and that was me. Like two Rangers, like if you don't double team Jack, you're going to have no chance of getting the puck. But even when they did that, he beat both those players, and then as you heard, he eventually scored the goal, but he's just magical at times.
9 points in his last 4 games. Against the Rangers, now 35 points in 25 games, as he has a goal and 2 assists tonight. Those 35 points put him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth in team history in most points against the Rangers all time, and that's done in just 25 games. Patrick Elias leads with 73, but it took 84 games for him to be able to do that. So Jack Hughes, just marvelous indeed. Before we wrap things up, let's check in. The guy who had a good night tonight indeed, 3-point night for Connor Brown as he rides shotgun on that Jack Hughes line. Here's what he had to say. Somehow we lost that interview with Connor Brown. Charles, would we be able to get it back? All right, a little bit of a technical delay or technical issue preventing us from replaying that Connor Brown. Just a little, you can see it. All right, let's see if we can join it. No.
Can hear him.
Well, obviously it's not working the way we would like. Anyway, congratulations to Connor Brown for a big night. Big night for the Devils as we get ready for Washington.
Well, even if Connor Brown, and it wasn't his fault, didn't nail that interview, boy, did he nail that shot. And it was a big one. It was Jack Hughes again, Matty, going around. And, you know, sometimes he just paralyzes the guys trying to check him. And I can see why. Where are you going to put your stick? Where are you going to move to? The guy's going to beat you. So then he saw the opening because Connor Brown moved around, and he got the puck low below the hash mark in the slot, and he ripped it home. And I can only imagine, Matty, for him. He's played with Connor McDavid in junior. Brown did. Mm-hmm. Now he's playing with Jack Hughes. I'm sure he must just say, I cannot believe it. But here's what we can believe. He is starting to find the back of the net. And unfortunately, again, you know, the Devils aren't going to make the playoffs. It doesn't look like it, but I would have loved to have seen what that line might have done if they had gotten into the extra season.
Yeah, it would be fun. We can dream.
Yeah.
And so the Devils win by a score of 6-3. We invite you to go to the Devils website to get more reaction from tonight's victory. Perhaps that Connor Brown interview will be played a little more clearly. You'll also hear from head coach Sheldon Keefe and Nico Hischier. Again, that's on the Devils website as the Devils wrap up this victory with a score of 6-3 as they beat the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. Devils back in action on Friday. They take on Washington. That's a game you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.